It's working. We're live. Yay.
Hello, live.
What? We're live? No.
We are indeed.
No, we're not.
Yep, totally.
You're lying, aren't you?
No. We are green and working. We have one viewer. I'd say it's probably Drax or one of you guys.
Probably me.
Possibly me.
No, it's Nutty. Here we go. It's just making sure we're all up and running there. Mr. Pecker's there. We'll get a few in eventually. Right. So, ladies and germs and players, we are back for 2020. Merry New Year for everybody. Most of you have probably already seen, but prior to that, and said that already, but going to say it anyway. Hope everyone had a great Christmas and a good holiday break. I did stream off and on over the 4-week sort of downtime, but was relaxing, so it was good. So we're not going to delay too much tonight. It may be a short stream because we're just going to go through the backgrounds and sort of go through what everyone did over the downtime period. And there's going to be no combat or anything like that. So it's going to be RP and some downtime stuff. So it might only be a short stream, but we'll be getting back into it as long as Mr. Het is all good for every Sunday. We'll be back again next week.
Should be pretty good so far.
And yeah, so we will be weekly for a while, and so yeah, so we should see a bit of progress in our story. So
We're level 10 by the end of the week.
I doubt that. Anywho, so without further ado, we're gonna I'm just gonna give a little brief recap. So 3 months have passed since we left our heroes. They returned from Sidar, and after battling more undead, and with the aid of a teleportation scroll, which Het's father Iron gave to the group. Each of the group then decided to prepare themselves for the coming events, spending time together and apart over the weeks and months, preparing, training, studying, researching new languages and tools. Some multi-classed, others just wanted to learn more about themselves. The world of Paradym ticked over. A few contracts had been fulfilled and gold earned. More stories of undead rising from all over the realm. And new stories of fiends and devils and things from the abyss being able to break through the veil. So it seems the prophecy is moving forward and possibly moving into the second stage. Can our heroes thwart these unnatural beings from entering into the realms?
They will try.
So now we return to the realm of Paradym and our adventurers to find out what they've been up to for the past few months. So we're going to do this. We're just going to do this in no particular order, just the order I've got my downtime sheets. So first and foremost, Mrs. Alessandris, what did you do with your downtime while you were for basically 3 months? You guys you had decided you wanted to do a couple of things. So could you tell everyone what you did in your downtime?
Went dungeon delving, learnt a new language. Learn a few more things. Yeah, no, mate.
So yes, so Alessandros decided to indeed go dungeon delving and was looking for a specific item. Can you let us know what that item was? You did find it, indeed. It took you about 4 weeks of research and different dungeoning with different guides that you found, but you did find this particular item. So if you'd like to let everyone know.
Just a simple belt. That's all it is. Just a simple belt.
Bullshit is a simple belt, my ass. Tell everyone what it is. Don't be a bitch.
A belt of daggers. No, it doesn't have its own daggers, unfortunately. That would be nice.
No. So ultimately, what it does is she can attune, up to 4 daggers to it, and when thrown, they do return to the belt, which is pretty cool. So Alessandra spent a few weeks researching and finding that particular item. On your return to Voland, Alessandra, you decided to camp near Gatton for a few days, as you know the area, because you have done a few quests in that particular area. While out hunting for an evening meal, you discovered a body. This body looked like had fallen prey to maybe bears or wolves. It was pretty badly ripped up. You decided to loot the corpse, as you're wont to do. You found a few mundane items, rations, things like that. But you also found a scroll, which was of great interest to you. I have DM'd what was on that scroll to you in the Discord.
Yes, you have.
You then head back to Valond, and you spent some time within the guild hall and the libraries within the guild learning Goblin. Would you roll a d20 for me? Intelligence check. Roll with advantage too, please.
So, intelligence, huh?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. I got a net 1.
On advantage? You're joking.
Nice, rolled 1.
So you rolled two ones. Roll advantage. Roll d20 twice and take the highest. And add your intelligence modifier. You can't tell me you rolled double ones.
Okay, 7 plus intelligence.
I mean, your intelligence isn't great, but...
Hey, better than party. Yeah, that's bad.
Just tell me what you got.
9.
9. So, you struggled a little bit with it. You were able to learn a reasonable amount of Goblin. You won't gain proficiency in it, unfortunately. You did not meet the DC. But you were able to read basic Goblin, and you will probably understand some basic phrases. What you will have to do is, for the next 9 days, you will have to spend at least an hour a day reading, studying Goblin. So just make a note somewhere that you need to spend over a short rest or a long rest. Just mark down how many hours you've spent studying. Once you reach your 9-hour study period, we'll get you to another intelligence check to determine whether you reach proficiency or not. You also asked around Valond and the surrounding villages about magical tattoos. You did find some information. There is a tattoo artist on the outskirts of Valond. Goes by the name of Orville Smalls. He has been described as a half-orc. He wears glasses. He looks to be in his late 60s. Hard to tell how how much orc or human is. He's really old and gnarled, and he probably looks like he's probably more human than orc. Graying hair, but you now know whereabouts he is located. You did find out a little bit of information about the type of tattoos you could get. So, and roughly the time it would take. There is a risk of disease while getting a tattoo, and the tattoo costs. You did find out that on average, the low power tattoos will cost about 1,500 gold each. The medium power tattoos will be 3,000 gold, and the high powered tattoos will be 5,000 gold each. And you can only get so many on your body at one time. And generally, some of them have an activation word that you need to use to activate the property. Some are active passively, depending on the tattoo you want to get. So you do know that information now. So you just let me know when you are able to or want to go visit Orville, and we can have a discussion with him about any particular tattoo that you wanted to get. So that is Alexandros. That is pretty much your... Oh, and you also, you spent the last 4 weeks with the City Guard, training as a fighter. So you have now multi-classed and have 1 level of fighter, as well as your rogue. So next in line, we have Fiala.
Hey.
So, Fiela, what did you do with the bulk of your downtime?
I spent a lot of time with Nemaris's father researching on all the prophecy that we've learned so far. I spent a lot of time with Nemaris. We did some bonding. And then I went and stayed with the Wood Elves to learn more about where I'm from and my home. And in that time, they gave me a spell tattoo of a cave bear on my arm, and I learned a new spell.
Yes, you did. You also spent some time, you visited the Bard's College briefly and spent some time learning the bird pipes.
Yes.
Roll a performance check for me with an advantage, please.
15.
With that, you were surprisingly that because of your druidic background, you picked up the bird pipes very, very easily. You were able to understand notation and tone and pitch, and you have gained proficiency in the bird pipes with a DC of 15. So you now have a set of bird pipes which you crafted while staying with the wood elves with the aid of one of the other wood elves there. And so now, if you are to use your bird pipes, whenever you do a performance check to see how well you play it, you will do so by adding your proficiency bonus.
Alrighty.
You also started to learn the Dwarvish language from a Dwarven cleric at the Arcanus. Can I get you to roll an intelligence check for me as well?
That would be a 10.
Right. So again, you being a relatively quick study, you picked up the just the nuances of the Dwarven language pretty good. You will still need to spend 5 hours just doing just brushing up, and again at the end of that 5 hours we'll make another intelligence check to see if you gain proficiency. So again, just make a note that you have to do 5 hours worth of reading on the Dwarvish language. You can do that while on a short rest. If you do it on a short rest, you will not gain the benefits of any hit die. But if you do it over the course of a long rest, as long as you still get that roughly that 8 to 10 hours sleep, you'll still get your actual long rest. But just make a note and then let me know if you're going to be reading for any length of time. You might want to read the whole night and risk a level of exhaustion to get the study in. It's up to you. You might want to spread it out. But you'll need to do at least 7 hours more study before we can roll for proficiency again. Also, to make another intelligence check with advantage, because Thorfinn did impart some knowledge to you. I just want to find out how much you retained.
Do I add intelligence?
Yeah, just a straight intelligence check. So just a D20 plus your intelligence modifier.
Or it's a nat 20 with a 3, so 23.
23. Okay, so you get all this information.
Yay!
You asked about the drow. You remember Begilia telling you about the raid on your family's home, and that your mother brought you to him because of a drow attack. So you spent a little bit of time looking into the drow because you didn't really know much about them. So the drow are also known as night elves or dark elves, or even those who went below is another term that's been used. In many ways, the drow resembled the Eldrin elves. Their bodies are very wiry, athletic, while their faces are chiseled and very attractive, like most elves are. The drow were shorter and thinner than most other subraces of elf. The skin of the drow was dark grey, jet black, or even obsidian. Drow eyes could be of any colour, with bright red being the most common. Pale shades appeared nearly white or blue, lilac, pink, or even silver were also quite frequent. Drow with green, brown, black, or amber, or rose-hued eyes exist as well, but are very rare. Purple or blue eyes are indicated surface elves or human ancestry, so more likely with half-elves and things like that. So they have a very alluring appearance, which could be used for seduction, but more often to instill fear. Also, too, while you did spend some time sparring with Neymaris and learning a little bit more skill with the shillelagh and melee-based weapons, you won't gain any proficiencies out of it. You just spent a bit of time, part of your bonding with Neymaris. While in Valand, going about your business, you were also approached by a male half-elf, relatively scruffy, unkempt, dark hair, dressed like a hunter, with a large timber wolf, dark grey, light grey colouring, one blue eye, one yellow eye. He walks up to you and introduces himself. Greetings. My name is Dylan Windhound. I've come here to seek you out by the order of the Emerald Enclave. Your benefactor, Begilia the Kind, was also a member, and such as you are as well. May we speak?
I've heard of the Emerald Enclave, yeah.
So he then sort of leads you through Valand, and you find just almost like a park kind of area, a few trees, and there's a few sort of benches, and he sits with you. He then goes on to say, we of the Emerald Enclave serve as gatekeepers to the vast space beyond the city walls. We are the defenders of both the wilderness and society that does not understand it. Most have forgotten that there is an ancient natural order that held sway long before we formed our intellectual concepts of it. To come into contact with the primal order is to touch the power that guides all life. Those who walk the way of the Emerald Enclave are infused with this power. We embody it. It moves us to do our work. This is why we are never alone. Even in the midst of a noisy, crowded city, we feel the presence of the natural world inside us, fresh, strong, and alive. He then hands you a small carved symbol, a stag's head, and says to you, "This is our sigil. Keep it with you always. When we heard of what was happening here, we knew it was time. In the coming months, if you need our assistance, please send word. The Order will send aid if we are able. The forces at work here must be stopped, as they seek to destroy the natural balance of the world. I bid you farewell, Fiela." And he turns and just gets up and walks away.
Wow. I'm going to put the stag's head in my pocket and...
So, just a little bit more about this tattoo as well. So, you were, as part of your new spell that you were talking and discussing with the Wood Elves, they gave you this. It was a magical tattoo. It's for aesthetics and look, and it also ties you to the spell. A tattoo of a cave bear made up of Celtic knots. Very intricate. It looks like it's living when you move. It starts on your arm. It comes up over your shoulder, down your rib cage, across under your breast, down side of your stomach, and across onto to your left thigh. So it pretty much covers almost the entire left side of your body. It's very intricate detail. The Celtinox more look like living root than anything else. It's very, very intricate design, very, very feminine, even though for such a large piece. And when indeed you do cast this spell, the bear's head of this tattoo glows with arcane energy as part of the cast of the spell. And that is pretty much it for you.
Sounds good.
So that is your downtime. I don't believe you multi-classed.
Nah.
So you just spent time doing, and you got a bit more research into the whole. You found out more about the prophecy and what was happening with that, and the same thing. You just heard rumors about more undead coming, breaching the plains. Now a few devils and fiends have been reported and things like that. So it's definitely things are starting to ramp up a little bit. Next in line, Master Hit.
Yes, hello.
So, Master Hit, what did you do in your downtime, sir?
Well, I spent the first part of it learning a bit of halfling after talking with a young lady on the boat. I thought that was a good idea. I learned a bit from her, but I wanted to learn more. So I hit the books, I hit the scrolls, and I ensured my halfling was up to scratch, or I tried to at least.
So make an intelligence check for me with advantage, please.
Oh, that is not too bad. Let me do some math here. Intelligence is... Oh dear, that's a negative math. That's 11. It's 11.
11. Again, you did pretty well. I mean, you spent a bit of time, obviously, with the cook aboard the ship, so you did pick up a bit there, and then you hit the books, being interested, obviously, to maybe, if you see her again, to converse with her in her own language. You do not gain proficiency at this time, but you do pick up a pretty good understanding of the written and the spoken halfling language. You will need to do a further 9 hours of study before you can
don't suck as much.
before you can make your proficiency reroll.
Sweet.
So just make a note of that. Again, short rest,
Done.
long rest, doesn't matter. If you want to make those studies, you can. And yeah, so what else did you want to achieve while on your downtime?
After that, I decided to hit what libraries I could, or any book people, or any mages, or anything, and try and learn as much about this Kosis, the dragon, or
Yep, Kosis Kosis the red dragon, or potential red dragon.
well, potential, yeah. The one that was banished in the prophecy, at least, or to prevent the prophecy. I wanted to learn everything about his lair and harness that I could, and I wanted to learn everything about him that I could, whether he had enemies or allies. Anything I could find is what I was after.
Not a problem. You also, I'll get you to make a check on that shortly. You also wanted to spend some time, again, back at the Bard's College, restudying some of your spells, I believe.
Yes, correct.
And what did you want to do with those spells?
So, my plan is, I want to take one spell and morph it into another and make it my favorite thing, coal-based. I cannot see the point of myself using fireball when clearly I'm a cold-blooded, cold-breathing creature. So I want to spend time in the Bard's College learning ways to morph my spell system, or my bardic and cleric spell systems, to be able to make cold damage instead.
Cool. We don't need to make a check on that. That's easy enough to do. We discussed that, so that was cool. You also wanted to, I believe, order some fresh armor.
Yes, that was the last thing on my list.
Yep.
Looking at getting my armor upscaled.
So, yep, I forgot to actually tell you, but yeah, you can definitely go out and purchase a custom piece of studded +1 armor.
Excellent, thank you.
At no cost, because any cost that you guys would have gained over your downtime with some quests that you guys would have done over the last 2 or 3 months, any gold you earn with that will cover any cost of training and all that sort of stuff. So there'll be no up and downs. You don't have to worry about math for your gold. So just add a +1 studded leather armor to your inventory. And
Easily
I
done.
believe that you visited a leather worker to have the Steel Lady insignia embroidered, carved, whatever into it, which
That's correct.
is not a problem. So now your research into Kosis. Roll firstly an intelligence check with advantage, and then a history check as well.
16 for the intelligence check.
16 for intelligence. All right, and give me a quick history check as well.
Uh-oh. 5 for the history check.
That was with advantage as well, sorry.
All right. That's still not that good. 8 for the history check.
Well, the average law of averages averages it out. Yeah, it's not too bad. So basically, you found out similar information to what you'd already found out from the text that your father had given you. But you also find out that he indeed did have an ally, then / enemy. The information you get, you find out about another dragon, a white dragon, goes by the name of Yildry, Champion of Men. So YLDRY. She was dubbed the Champion of Men. Yildry and Kosis were lovers once long ago, but Kosis's obsession with power and wealth soon changed him in ways that Yildry could no longer deal with. She left him to his madness. But she was eventually tracked down by the Council of Guild Elders, led by a mage, who now is the head of the Arcanist Paradym. You have come to know him as Thorfi Eldrin.
Okay.
Thorfi is a very charismatic elven mage. After spending a few hours with Yildry, he convinced her to aid the council. Her only condition was that Kosis not be killed, but be banished from the material plane. So she agreed to supply the council with a vial of Kosis's blood so that the binding could be performed. She fought with Kosis and was injured severely, but she kept her side of the bargain and handed over the blood. Only then did she realize that the council were less than truthful in what the endgame was. While they did not kill Kosis, they bound him to the 9 hells instead of a pocket dimension, which they had originally agreed on. While Yildry knew that this would only fuel his psychosis and make matters worse, she also knew the deal that Kosis had struck with a god from the 9 hells. She tried to warn the council, but instead the council issued orders that all dragons be slain. She then fled to the north, where she disappeared from history, it seems. There have been rumours over the years that she may still be living in the far north of the realm, living out her life as a recluse in human form. Stories of a strangely beautiful woman dressed in white living in the frozen forests of the Falcon Hills to the north have been heard. The council had also sent several assassins over the years, but none ever returned. And that is pretty much the info that that you got with your rolls, unfortunately.
Sweet, no hassle.
So that was pretty much you, Hit. That was your downtime.
That's
activities. Next, what have we got on the list? Next. Name Maris is next. So, Miss Neymaris, what did you do with your downtime over the last sort of 2 to 3 months?
Well, I had Fiala at the Arcanist with us, so she was spending some time with Dad, but we also did some, girly bits like face masks, and she showed me this beautiful new hair mask that was all nice and natural, so, that kind of... We did a bit of fighting, so I kind of showed her how to use her shillelagh properly and defend herself. I also decided that I wanted to show Thorfi that actually maybe my time at the Arcanist Paradym wasn't completely...
Useless.
That's the word I was looking for. So I decided I'd go and train at the Temple of Helm to become a paladin. And I learnt some Goblin.
Right, so did you want to do any research at all? While you didn't do any research either, did you? It was just the training. Okay.
Just the training and the...
So make an intelligence check with advantage for your learning of the Goblin language.
16.
16. You only need to do a further 2 hours of study before we can roll for proficiency. You didn't quite get proficiency this time. It was close. But yeah, so you need to do just make a couple hours of more study. Surprisingly, you did very well, and Thorfi was impressed with your studies. You also received word from Breton Hart that he wishes to see you as soon as possible.
Yes.
So do you head to the barracks?
I do. I decide I'm just going to pop on over.
So you head over to the barracks, where you find Breton in his office. Anvil is asleep in his usual spot next to the large desk.
I go over and give him a tickle behind the ear.
He sort of half-pie lifts his head and sort of presses up against your hand, and he doesn't really wake up. He's getting old. I mean, Breton's getting pretty old himself. He's been in the game for a long time. And he looks at you, puts his hands up on his elbows, and sort of clasps his hand together in front of him. And he says, Namaris, I'm glad you could come and see me. I've got some information that I think that you would definitely need, and we need to deal with this discreetly, as discreetly as possible. You're definitely better suited to this than the City Watch. And he hands you 2 scrolls. As you read over the scrolls, he says to you, I'm saddened to say that Riffic Gurry, the sergeant of the Watch, has been involved in a theft from the Arcanus. A number of documents were stolen, some pertaining to this damn prophecy that everyone's talking about at the moment, and others containing old magics, which, if they fall into the wrong hands, well, you can just imagine what could happen.
Right.
He was last seen heading into the sewers. And Namaris, you would know from your time at the City Watch that the sewers are home to the Black Fang, which is a band of cutthroats and thieves.
Right, would you like me to go on my own, or shall I take people with me? Because I know that if I go on my own, that he might come back.
Yeah, if it's up to you. I mean, if you want to deal with it on your own, you can. But I mean, you're getting into the sewers with the Fang, and they are pretty dangerous. You might need some backup.
I'll go into the
you
gang.
need to find him and bring him back alive if you can. If he does not wish to be brought back alive, you have my authority to dispatch him and any others involved. But we must recover those documents.
Right, so
There'll also be 1,000 gold reward for the recovery of the documents.
right. Well, when I see the rest of the gang, I'll have a chat with them about it, and we'll see what we can do.
And the second scroll, I DM'd you the information for that.
And I will sort that out later.
And he says to you, you deal with those things at your discretion. I trust you. You're still a valuable member of the City Guard, even though you're technically retired.
What's the name of the gang?
The Black Fang. Good luck to you and indeed your companions if you so wish to involve them in this. I trust that we'll get this done quickly and with as much discretion as possible. And then he goes back to sort of filtering through some of the paperwork.
No problem, sir. I'll go and get onto that right away. Well, as soon as I can.
Right, so
And I go back and
head back
when we
to...
get back
So
together,
essentially you guys are all gathered back at the guild hall, by the way. So you're all sort of milling around together as well at the guild hall while we're sort of going through some of the stuff.
I'll relay that information about the Black Fang gang.
Sadiq...
Is this guild hall in Baldur's Gate?
Possibly.
Just the music.
Yeah, the music is very, very similar. It's how they get sort of dropped into that. We'll go back to the other one. So, Sadiq, what did you want to do with your downtime? We discussed a couple of things.
I did research on undead.
And in particular, Cast the Cruel, I believe.
Yeah. Well, vampires in general as well. Trying to mitigate their healing ability. But instead I stumbled across something else which gives me a healing ability.
Yes,
so the plasma.
The plasma pill, yes. So you have spent some time honing your skills with alchemy, and so what I'm going to get you to do is make a intelligence roll with advantage, but add your proficiency modifier to the roll as well.
That would be 19?
19, so that was with your proficiency modifier added as well?
Yeah.
So close, dude. You almost got expertise in this. I had set it to DC 20. So you didn't quite gain expertise in your alchemy skills, but you are definitely very, very skilled. So you can still add your proficiency modifier to any crafting of alchemy supplies and to any checks involving identifying potions and things like that. So you add your proficiency modifier to it.
I can keep on researching.
Who muted that? Who server muted the audio?
It's not muted.
Yeah, it was server muted.
I was turning it down that I accidentally hit mute.
Yeah,
Looks
you
like
must
it's
have
still
server
here.
muted it. That's all good. Just so it stopped for a second. Oh shit. But anywho, so what we need to do. You also spent some time at a local blacksmith, and you crafted yourself a silver dagger, which you named Anger's Tear. I will get you to roll a dexterity check with an add your proficiency modifier as well.
Why are you always picking ones that are... Okay, that would be
Dex or
13.
strength. Dex or strength.
Ah,
Yeah.
strength. 16.
16, right. So, with the DC 16, you will gain that weapon. I'll add it to it for the next show. So I haven't actually added the extra damage to it. With a DC of 16, you will add 1d6 radiant damage to the dagger, which gives you just the purity of the silver. Had a potential of a 1d10 set of different DCs. So when I add it to it, you can add it to your inventory. And so whenever you use the dagger against anything that's undead, fiendish, abyss, like anything technically evil, you'll gain that 1d6 extra radiant damage as well.
Awesome.
With your pill, your plasma pill, we figured out how you would do that. So generally, you didn't get your double proficiency because you didn't get expertise. So when you do craft it, you will gain... I can't remember what we put down for that. Where is it? Go to my creations here for a second. Hopefully... Oh yeah, it's going to play ball.
Yeah, the proficiency was on expertise would only give me a
would
against
double
the
would have
skill
doubled
check.
would have doubled your proficiency for crafting it to gain the extra. So whatever we discussed with, because what was the heal for it? Just want to go through and explain it to the group.
It's 1d4 plus their con for 4 rounds.
That's right. It's basically a heal over time. So it's a pretty cool setup. And what I need to add to this was...
They should be able to see it if they look in the homebrew collection.
Yep.
They should be able to see my one.
It should be in D&D Beyond. He's created it, so...
Cool.
And I am just fixing up the dagger for you. And I will share that. So the dagger should now be available as well. So just Anger's Tear, you'll search for and add that to your inventory. Right, as far as your research is concerned, I need you to make an intelligence roll with advantage. And add your proficiency modifier as well, because this is information you've gotten from your order.
That'll be 19.
19. I figured you'd get reasonably high. Right. So, while researching and communicating with your order, you found this information. Do you want me to DM it to you? and then you decide what you want to share. Or do you
Yep,
want me to read
that would
it?
be the best way to go.
Okay.
No, it's from the order, so yeah, no, let everyone hear.
Yeah. So it's a letter you've received from the order anyway. So you received this information. Today, the vampire that this particular undead that you're researching, it goes by the name of Cass Agnund, which you know already. He has obviously extended an invitation for you guys to go visit him. He has made his home Keir Imroth, which is an old abandoned castle on the southwest coast. It has been said that he has at least 3 to 5 vampires spawn with him at most times, along with many undead servants and possibly other protectors, daytime protectors, no doubt. There are many humanoid creatures that pledge their loyalty to the vampire, whether through fear of promise or immortality. The city of Aris, Cass frequents in the Twilight Hours and has become a prominent figure there, so expect there may be many loyal to him in that particular city. Cass in life was a human fighter. He is said to have long dark hair, looks to be in his 20s, wears fine tailored clothes while in Aris, in dark colours, usually reds, browns, greys, blacks as well. He's been also seen wearing dark chainmail armour and carries a large two-handed sword that seems to emanate a dark, shadowy sort of mist from it. And it sort of goes on to say that I'll give you this bit of information for free because it sort of pertains to a couple other things. Once every 20 years or so, Cass and his coven travel the lands and gorge themselves on human blood. A small village, a settlement, usually leaving none alive. The last such place was a township or village by the name of Beepole, a small island town, which you know very well. And that is pretty much all the information that you were sent from the order. Again, they sign off, basically wishing you well in your quest. And that, ladies and germs, is our downtime information. So you have all regathered back at the guild hall with all the information that you have gathered on your own and separately and together. You have probably spent a little bit of time together in this 3 months, keeping in touch, going out adventuring, coming back and making a little bit of gold. And now you've returned to make a decision on what comes next.
Just before we all get together, can I grab Ali? I just need to see her first.
Sure.
I'm
So
scared.
you pull Alice. Do you want to do it privately through
Yep.
DMs, or do you want to do it? I mean, everyone's going to be in character, so what you guys discuss, if the other characters don't hear, they don't know. But it's up to you whether you want to keep it sort of private for now, or you want to do it that way. It's up to you.
No, I'll go and I'll just grab her and take
Pull
her
her
into
aside?
another.
Okay.
Yep. And I'll share this.
You pull her aside and you move to another room. What do you say?
I pull the scroll out that was given from Breton, and I show it to her, and she'll know what it.
Alessandra, you do indeed know this piece of parchment all too well. You currently hold the same exact piece of parchment.
Ah, crap.
And I look at her and I say, "You've got 5 minutes to explain. It better be good, or we'll be going."
Going where? Where are we
Cut
going?
off.
Back to see Mr. Hart.
It wasn't me.
Roll a deception check. Alessandra, roll a deception check if you're trying to be deceitful.
$21.
21. And so with that roll, Namaris, roll an insight check for me.
I just spoke to. $16.
So, Alessandra, it's up to you what information you divulge, or whether you stick to your story. Namaris, you know well enough, being your time in the city guard, when someone's lying to you.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not 100% sure in this case.
So what did you want to do? Where do you want to take this?
I just want to know your side.
All right. I'll face. It was an accident. I swear.
So you tell her the story?
Yeah.
Okay, so since this has come out, do you guys want me to tell the story so that the viewers?
Yeah.
And
well,
I mean, everyone out of character is gonna. You guys are probably gonna divulge information anyway. I would imagine now that two of you know. So, for the viewers, Alessandra, while she was rummaging through the body in the woods, found a scroll which had a wanted poster on it. The wanted poster was... where is it? I'll find it here. Wanted, changeling murderer, 1,000 gold pieces. This murderer will most likely be using the face of a Beth Morgan. If captured, return her to Beaufort to stand trial, believed to be armed and very dangerous, by order of the Emerald House. So the Emerald House is the governing body of the town of Beaufort.
I'm not dangerous, I swear.
So what Alessandros then explains to Namaris is this. Alessandros, before joining the guild, was camping on the outskirts of Beaufort near an old ruin, and was in her natural changeling form. She had not taken a human face. She was actually on her own, believing she was on her own, was in her natural form. And a Beth Morgan, who liked to frequently go to the ruins to search for artifacts and things like that, happened to stumble across Alessandros' camp. Freaked out by what she saw, she did attack attack Alessandros, and during that scuffle, Alessandros did indeed kill a Beth Morgan. The death was technically accidental, but was kind of brutal at the same time. Alessandros lost control. And
Well, changeling, what can I say?
and with her, the way she's about death, she just didn't really care too much. She hid the body, and then decided to see what all the fuss was about, and took on the form of a Beth Morgan, and lived a Beth life for a time.
Right, at this point, I'm going to say to Ali, I believe you. We've got two choices. You either need to come up with a good excuse to change your face,
Run and hide, that works.
or we need to go and explain to Brett and Hart and just say, look, this is what's happened. I believe you, so hopefully he will. To clear your name.
I still reckon run and hide.
So you need to change your face, and then nothing more will be said.
Then you choose a face, I'll change to it. How's that sound?
I just don't want you to be arrested in the middle of the bloody forest at any given time.
And this is a good possibility now too, because you both now have a wanted poster with a Beth Morgan's face on it, and you are in the largest city in the realm, and which has a lot of city guard around. So,
and does Brett and Hart know that she's part of the?
He has an idea. He does. Because he's met you guys. He's met all of you guys. That's why he's handed it to you, because he recognized the face. He wanted you to deal with it specifically.
Right. So if I go back to him and say,
that's
"Look, this
harsh.
is what's happened,"
You didn't get a. Actually, roll a quick insight check for what you gleaned from Breton when he handed you the scroll.
17.
Again, you're pretty good at reading people, but let's see. You got the impression from him that if you decided to bring her in, he would definitely have her arrested and have her transported to Beaufort to stand trial. But you also got the impression that if you decided to not pursue it and help her not look like this person, then he would not pursue it any further either.
Alright, that's fine. Then she just needs to change her face.
So now, Alessandros, you now have a choice. You've seen hundreds of faces. You've seen faces of the dead. You've seen a face recently on your travels. The dead courier, as an example. His face was recognizable. His body was pretty mutilated, but his features would have been recognizable. You would have been able to gauge his size. So essentially, you do have a lot of options. So it is up to you what you decide to do, and when you decide to do it too, because I dare say if you decided to do it out of eyeshot of the rest of the group, it could have negative connotations, maybe. Who knows? Or it could be fun, or it could be you being you, it could be a lot of fun. So basically the choice is yours. Do you stay as you currently are? Yes, this chat's still in the other room, by the way. So you guys don't actually know any of this as characters right now.
So, what do you reckon? Do we tell the others, or
That's up to you, but
or do we keep it out of the secret? I reckon keep it at least secret. Yeah.
just come up with an idea to.
Yes, and only
that's true.
Not the entire. Yeah, side note, not the entire group. A group knows your secret yet. There is still one person of your party that you know does not know.
I'm sorry, Sadiq.
Who you are.
I reckon that maybe you just need to do something like say, "Oh, well, I'm sick of this face for now," and change to somebody else.
So at the moment, you're probably
Or-
safe. You're in the guild house, so you probably wouldn't have to do anything right now. So, Alessandros, think about what you're going to do and make your decision, and let us know what you're going to do. Are you going to do it? Are you going to change your face and appearance and then go back to the group, or are you going to stay as you are for now?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Roll for it?
Yeah, we'll do that.
Do you want me to roll for it, or do you want to roll for it?
Nah, you can. My rolls suck.
Okay, I'll roll a d20. 1 to 10, you stay as you are. 11 to 20, you change your face. Okay, that's a 13. So you change your face.
Awesome.
What are you changing your appearance to? Because I'm probably going to have to write this down. We have to write it down for further reference, because I mean, when describing yourself later, it's going to be interesting.
Okay, we'll do a role change, and also may as well do a name change while we're at it.
Well, you can't. Well, you could keep Alessandros if you wanted to, depending if you were, even if you were a guy, it probably wouldn't make too much of a difference.
All right, we'll keep the
Just call
name.
you Ellie.
Yeah, Ellie, that'll work.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do the
So
male
keep your
side.
name.
So
So you're going to use the courier's face?
yeah, why the hell not? Does he have family? Does he have friends?
You wouldn't know that, but in your opinion, most couriers are pretty solitary. They travel a lot, so they generally don't have families. So I will give you a random look. So the courier had short, sandy brown hair, so kind of like a mousy brown. He was probably around just under 6 foot tall, so probably around that 6 foot with boots and that on. So I'd say we'll say 6 foot tall. He was not human. Let's make a roll here. He was half elf.
Oh, sweet.
So you now, as in front of Neymaris, you just change. Your clothes change, everything changes to fit you, your boots change, and you are now a pale-skinned half-elf.
Hang on. I don't think clothing would change.
Does the clothing not change?
No, it's just...
Actually, no, you carry a set of clothing, don't you? You carry extra clothing in your backpack, I believe.
He's like the Hulk.
Yeah, because your whole body shape would change, so yeah. You'd have to change your clothes as well.
You're gonna have boob bumps in your top.
So you are now a 6 foot tall, pale skinned, short, sandy brown hair half elf. You are average weight for a half elf, so you're not bulky, but you're not real thin. You're probably a little, not much bigger than Alessandros would have been in body size in that respect, because half elves and elves can be quite slight. So I'd say you're still reasonably slight build, but nothing like maybe a little more buff than you were as Alessandros or as a Beth. Yeah, so that's your new look.
So what do you think? You like this look, or is this not a...
I think that looks good.
And you, Neymaris, you look at him, and as most half elves are, he is reasonably attractive. He's got fine features, pale green eyes, and yeah, just generally a nice looking person.
Suppose you look alright for a half elf.
Alright, so
Right.
I'm going to go back to my normal state, because I don't want the others to know yet.
So that's going to be your new form. So you're going to go back to a best form
For the time being, yes.
for the time being.
That will be the new form, yes.
Right. So you then revert back before you head back into the room with the rest of the group. So you're all back in the main guild hall.
So I'm going to announce to the group, I need to run off, make an errand. I'll be back soon.
Be aware.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, what are you going to do, Trash? What's your errand?
I'm going to change my look while I'm not there.
Jesus Christ. So where are you gonna go change your look? You gonna go buy some new clothes?
Yeah, I suppose I should. We'll do that.
Okay. So you head out into the street. The moment you head out into the street, you notice a patrol, six city guards.
You suck. You know this, right?
It's a dice roll, man. They don't look like they're sort of coming directly to you, but they're definitely coming in your direction. What do you do? They're probably about 30 or 40 feet away, but they're definitely coming in the direction of the guild hall.
Alright, I'm going back into the bloody guild hall.
You gonna go back inside?
Yeah, alright.
Okay, so you go back inside.
Oh, he's back. She's back. Didn't she just leave?
Well, that was
Yeah,
quick.
I forgot something. That's all it was.
Are you all right, Ali? Is there...
Yep, I'm good. All's
Oh.
good.
I'll tell them about this quest to the Black Fang gang to get this dude while we're
Fiona, make
waiting.
an insight check for me, because I get the impression that you were saw the hurried return and probably the little bit of distress on Alessandros' face.
I rolled an 18.
An
Oh,
18?
shit.
Yeah, you know something's up. Something's not quite right. I mean, Ellie's not normally that nervous.
Ali, do we need to go in the room you were just in and have a talk with her?
No, I'm good. I swear, I'm good.
I think we should.
Oh, alright then.
So you're going to leave the room again with
Yes.
with your auntie. With
I just
Fiona,
look at the
sorry.
guys and say, it's girl talk.
So Alessandros and Fiala leave the room. What are you
All
guys going
right.
to talk about?
What's going on?
So I pull out the scroll and show Fiela.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I'm pausing.
Hope he does it to Sadiq.
So do I.
Have
Kill him.
you told anyone else about this yet?
No, not at all.
Okay. Does Het know? And
Nope.
Sadiq? Oh.
Nope, and nope.
Okay. We've been in this party for how many months? Really? Okay.
So yeah, so you, with this 3-month break, you guys, you specifically have probably only been with the group about 3.5, 4 months. Alessandros, Het, and Namaris have been in the group from the beginning, so they're probably been closer to 6 months.
Being a people druid is not going to be easy for you if you can't trust us. So I think you need to probably tell everyone.
Tell everyone what?
Make a persuasion roll for me.
17?
17. So, Alessandros, Fiela's words seem legit. Like, she's being really genuine. She reckons that with what's happening, you need to be upfront with the rest of the group, because trust is very important to group makeup. You know that the whole group dynamic. You know that. I mean, you've spent enough time with Het and Namaris. You trust them. You don't know Sadiq and Fiela that well, but you get the sense that it's probably a good idea to come clean with the whole group about what's going on, and trust that they will back you up.
Did you do what it says you've done?
Maybe.
I look at the grand scheme of things, so if you want to keep going, I can help you. As long as you don't harm any of us. Otherwise, you're going to have to fight with the king.
All right. Look, I'll fess up. Bring them all in. But
So you're going to tell
you
the
need
whole
to go
group?
out and tell. Yeah, go out and tell them to come in.
Okay, so
While she's doing that,
yeah,
I changed my.
you're going to change your form. I kind of figured you're going to do that. So Fiala, you return to the main guild hall, and what do you tell them? You've been asked to bring them all into the room.
I'm going to rub my hands together and then say, right, if all of you could just join me in there for a second. We've got some stuff to discuss above our left.
Hold
I
on,
just
this is
roll my
girl stuff, I
eyes.
thought.
Oh, well, it's just turned into Dragonborn Orc.
It's turned into everybody.
He looks at Sadiq and just shakes his head.
I just roll my
Well.
eyes.
Do you all retreat to the room?
Yes.
I mean, I already
Yeah.
know what's going on, so I suppose so.
So
Yeah, what he said.
So you all just again hit Sadiq. You're thinking, what the hell? It's like, what's going on? Is this weird? This is just some weird shit, man. So
Female. Yeah, that's.
as you open the door, the first thing as you walk in, the first thing you see is there's no Alessandros, but there's this half elf dude standing in the room wearing Alessandros' clothes. And they don't
Hey,
they don't quite fit well.
Here cast disintegration. No, just kidding, I don't have that.
And yeah, this half elf's just standing looking at you guys with a cheesy grin on its face.
So,
Hello,
guys,
sprightly man.
So, guys, what do you think of the new look?
What's with the old look?
So
There was
Sadiq,
songs with it.
you have no idea what's going on, because you have no idea that Alessandros was a changeling in the first place. All you know is that Alessandros went into this room, and now you're in this room, and there's a half-elf gentleman standing there instead of Alessandros.
He has no
Namaris-
idea either.
Yeah, Namaris, you, and obviously Fiala know. Well, Fiala probably won't know about the change, but Namaris, you do because you've seen it. Fiala, you are a little confused. Because you just left Alessandros in the room, and now there's this man standing there.
Is he naked or is
No,
he
he's
wearing
Alessandros' clothes, but they definitely don't fit too well. They're a bit stretched in places and a bit short, because he's quite a bit taller than what Alessandros was. Hit, you're not sure what's going on, but you have an inkling, maybe. Roll and
Oh my god, this man ate Alessandros.
I'm just going to stand next to Sadiq.
Hit and Fiala roll roll an intelligence check to see if you figure out what's going on. Fiala,
Oh, it's good.
roll intelligence as well.
17 for Hit.
17.
10.
Yeah, you both. I mean, it was DC 10, so it was pretty. Fiala, you're pretty intelligent. You figure out that you've just walked out and walked back, so there's something's definitely going on. You know that Ellie's a changeling, so you've figured that this is what's happening. Hit, you're the same. You've got an idea of what's going on. You don't know why that she's changed her shape. Namaris, you definitely know. Sadiq, you are extremely confused about why there's a man standing in the room where Alessandros just was, wearing her clothes.
Which is why I'm standing next to Sadiq, ready in case he decides to do something stupid.
That's completely up to
Well,
Sadiq.
Well, going by the conversation that I've had with Het about how Alessandros is a really good...
That's right, he let it slip, didn't he? I remember that.
I had a feeling that there was something
Roll an
different.
intelligence check for me. I forgot about that. What'd you
There's a
get?
parrot in this room.
That's a natural 20.
Natural
so
20. Yeah. In your travels, with being with the Blood Hunter Order, and obviously your discussions with Het and other things that have happened within this group, the group dynamic is kind of strange to you anyway. You these people are really fucking weird, but you've grown to like them. I mean, you've spent 3 months researching stuff about and trying to obviously help with the guild, and these guys have become your companions. So yeah, you're pretty certain you know what's going on. You don't know why it's happened, but you do have figured out that she's either a doppelganger or a changeling or something along those lines.
And it comes down to if Namaris is okay with Alessandros without straight out killing her, she can't be that bad in the first place.
This is true.
I like the way you think.
This is very, very true. So, reactions from the party.
This will be fun.
As I said before, why did you go through the change?
Next.
Hit says, I know this is a girl thing, but I thought once a month you just bled, you didn't change forms.
Gotta change menopause.
Oh, I get it. That's why there's the men. Pause, but just change into a man. Cool. So is it?
Pause, yeah.
Is it Alessandri now, or?
Just Ellie. How's that? Just Ellie.
Ellen?
Just Ellie.
Alan.
Ellen sounds good, yeah, Ellen.
Alessandros is a nice half-elf name, I think.
Dauntless Doom with the sub. I thought I'd turn that shit off.
Okay, now that all the shock
Cheers, buddy.
is out of the way.
Ali, how do we know you won't kill one of...
Hang on, Drax.
Hang on a minute. Kill who? What? What's good? What do you mean kill?
Okay, let me just pull out this scroll, show everyone the scroll.
Okay,
And
so you
explain what
pass
happened.
it around. So yeah, so we go through. I mean, you guys heard the explanation of what happened.
Yes, we did.
Alessandros, produces the scroll, and then re-explains the whole scenario that he was attacked in changeling form. He defended himself, and accidentally on purpose mutilated this corpse
Hey,
hid the
they're all
body
changeling. Come on.
and then basically took her place for a time, and then made his way to the guild. For whatever reason, it's just his understanding of death and everything's different than everybody else's, all that sort of guff. So essentially, you guys now are aware that Abeth, or the changeling, is now wanted for murder. Has $1,000 gold bounty on her head. They know she looks like a Beth Morgan, but they also know she's a changeling. So it is now up to you guys whether you decide to hide the fact that he's a changeling and keep that secret, or turn her in.
We got bigger fish to fry. Let's, do this one later.
Yes, head agrees. So is she still gonna be in our team, or is she hiding from the law?
Well, as this new person, he will no longer need to be obviously hiding from the law. They won't know who he is, unless he is observed changing shape, basically.
Hang on, Ellie. Are you still a girl, or are you a dude? Or are you a girl who thinks he's a dude, or are you a dude who's really a girl?
I can do whatever you want, mate.
Ooh, that sounds a bit kinky.
No, but I mean, when you're out of dude form, in your regular changeling form, are you a dude or a chick?
He is neither.
Ah, crap, this is so confusing.
Dude form, yeah. So, I mean, if you so indeed want to explain that to them, it's up to you. You make that distinction. If you want to explain what you are as a changeling, you can. If not, you can keep it yourself. Up to you.
Would I let them know that Bretton Hart actually knows about her, which is why he gave me.
Yeah, you'll give it all the information that you guys had together will now be given to the group. So the group will now know that Bretton Hart was who gave you the wanted poster. He knows that Alessandrus, who was in Beth Morgan's form, is a changeling. Now that Alessandrus has changed her shape into this gentleman, chances are Bretton won't know at all what's going on unless you told him. If you decided to go tell him that Alessandrus, you took her out in the woods and killed her, or you've taken her to Beaufort yourself, that would be up to you. But you're not a very good liar, so again, those sort of things will be up to you guys. So at the end of the day, the information you have is what you have, and what you choose to do with it is up to you. So at the moment, the general consensus I'm getting is you guys are quite happy just to let things lie as they are for now, and focus on the task at hand.
I'm going to pull out a sheet of paper, which has got in big squirrel at the top, to do, and add deal with Alessandrus's crap.
Ed takes out his notebook and scribbles a few things in there for himself only at this point in time.
Yeah, no worries.
Misspelled Crapsody.
So, yes. So now you have the task of finding yourself some new clothing, Ellie. So, because at the moment,
armor.
And armor, because your armor probably doesn't fit you anymore either.
Yeah, true.
So you'll have to. Again, we won't worry about gold exchange for this. For the intents and purposes of this, we'll say that you find the appropriate attire and the same type of armor and weapons that you currently carry.
Yeah, I sold Ellie's stuff to.
Exactly. There you go. So that bypasses that headache for now. So guys, yeah. So you are now all on the same page. You all know a little bit more about each other, especially Alessandrus. You now, Sadiq, you now know exactly what's going on there as far as the whole changeling thing is concerned. Which you know for future endeavours will come in extremely handy. Being able to change, being able to change form and from an infiltration perspective. So I would say you in particular are actually probably a little relieved that that's what this was about and wasn't anything else. So, group, you have an invitation to visit Aris by invitation of Cass Agnand. You also, Neymaris has just informed you about the theft from the Arcanus, and Rifik Gurry, the former sergeant of the city guard, last seen heading into the sewers with said scrolls. Basically, a dead or alive order has been issued, preferably alive, but pish posh. Essentially, it is up to you what you guys decide to do first.
By any chance, the reason why the teleportation thingos has gone nuts is because of that Arcanus rubber?
Mm-hmm.
Roll. Actually, no. You guys would know that Breton would have divulged that information as well. So yeah, you definitely that is the reason why the teleportation circle had been shut down. Some very sensitive scrolls, old magics, wild magic, information about the prophecy, and again potential information that you guys might need. Pertaining to that has been stolen by this particular person, one of the most unexpected people, because he was a member of the city guard. So you don't know whether I would say that you probably don't know whether the portals have been reopened or not without finding out. That's something you could potentially do.
Stick my head out the door and say, "Are the portals up and running yet?"
And Jeremy, sort of half asleep at the table, goes, "What was that? No, not yet."
Thought so.
Okay, and sort of nods off and back to half asleep.
Well, look, the portals will make our life a lot easier. Do we want to deal with that job? Then use the portals to get around, which also means we might be able to get reinforcements a little bit quicker if we needed it.
Sure, let's do
Sounds good to me. And then there's money involved as well, so we can get that.
Yeah, money. Oh,
Yes, money.
I'm also going to give everyone a pouch of the Sadiq pills as well.
And how many pills per?
It's 4 pills in each pouch.
Okay.
And it actually comes up as a charge, so they can tick off the charges.
Cool. So it's in D&D Beyond, guys. So if you want to add that to your inventory, you've been gifted.
Yeah, they're down as Sadiq plasma pills.
Yeah. So, you guys, indeed, talking about portals and things, you guys know, with the information that Sadiq gave you about Aris and Kier Imroth, and both Fiala and Het would know of this area because it's on the same continent you guys come from. So, from the Bagillian Mountains and from Ardennes, you would head southeast. In the southeastern corner of the realm, there is a large island which has the city of Arnis on it, and across the moors is the ruins of Kier Imroth, which is said to be the home of the vampire Cass the Cruel. He is potentially taken control of Arnis, but at the very least is a predominant figure in that city and has most likely some strong support there. So you do know that either without the teleportation, you'd be looking at another ship's journey, which would be a relatively long one because you'd have to circumnavigate the main island and go pretty much all the way around. So we're probably looking by sea from Valand. I would imagine probably 6 to 8 week journey. It'd be a long, slow journey. It's on pretty much on the other side. It's pretty much on the other side of the world, almost.
What if we went to Het's homeland and travel by land over that way.
To travel by sea again, it would take you 2 to 3 weeks to travel across the Sea of Pearls. Pretty much the same journey you took previously. If you were to go back into the coast above the Twilight Jungle, and then obviously you could go by foot to Arnis, establish transport there over land. You're probably still looking about 3 to 4 weeks. You've got to travel through the Graven Waste, through the Begilia Mountains, then into the Cardi River area, and then you would have a small boat ride across like almost like a ferry ride across a strait to the city of Arnis.
So do we want a boring boat ride, or do we want adventure peoples?
Or you could, like say, you have the option of completing this theft quest and potentially reopening the portals and being able to be teleported.
That too.
Probably closer. You may be able to get teleported to Arnis. You would have to find out. There may be a circle there, or there may not. You might have to. You might only be able to get as far as Arnis by teleportation. You may be able to get to the township of Muko, which is to the north of Aris. You're not 100% sure. This is information you guys would have to find out.
Let's go.
Well, opening the portal seems like a good idea, right? If we can do that.
I second.
Yeah.
Third and even.
If we fail opening the portal, I guess I could just use magic to port us there myself.
I look sideways at Hat and I'm like, can you do that?
No, I can't.
Oh, right. But you give it a try, right?
Absolutely. Thanks.
Right, so team, you've decided that you will go after the thief and potentially reopen the portals.
Sounds like a plan.
What are you going to do first? You know he was last seen entering the city sewer. There are obviously several entrances to the city sewage around the city. Sewage grates within the city streets. There's probably a maintenance access, probably 2 or 3. There is definitely would be 2 or 3 maintenance accesses. You'd have to find out where those were. You'd have to find out what section of the sewage he was last seen, which section of the city, so you'd have probably narrowed down your search, because that information was not handed to you, Namaris. You would have to go talk to probably the current watch. They would have more of an idea, because there's probably a search party out looking and asking for information anyway.
Right, so if we go there and then find out where we need to go to be helpful.
Yeah. You could probably go back to Bretton Hard, or just go back to the barracks and hit up one of the city guardsmen. The whole city guard's probably been scrambled.
Yeah,
So
well,
they'll be investigating. So
yeah, if we go and organise ourselves with them, because then it gives us a better chance to not run into them and get in trouble.
yeah.
That's an excellent idea.
That is a good idea. Do you guys need to supply any supplies? Do you need to make a trip to the Arcanus or to a blacksmith or any kind of proprietary place to gain supplies, or you're all good?
No, I'm good.
We're all good?
Hit is good.
It is good?
All stocked up.
All stocked up?
Yeah.
So before we carry on any further than that, we're going to take a short break, because I really need a pee. So we will be
So
right...
you need to go pee, not that you...
Yeah, exactly.
you live.
So take 5, guys. We're going to grab a drink, go urinate, whatever you have to do. Chat, we'll be right back. Just give us a moment.
Next
Hit
week
to-
I'll study someone.
Right, chat, we are back. Hit would like
Hit
to do
2
what?
would like to pick up some rations. I was just looking through
Okay,
my backpack.
rations.
I thought I had everything
Yep.
I needed, but I need about 5 or 6 rations.
Yeah, just add them. Again, we'll say that's all part of the funds you would have earned in the meantime.
Sweet. And some water skins.
Oh yes, I need some water skins too.
Don't you have that jar that fills with water nonstop? Or
Alchemy jug.
Ah, yes, I do.
Yeah, you do have the alchemy
Tried to
jug.
use it in the other campaign.
That's right. She tried to use it in the wrong campaign. So, we'll just make sure everyone's back. So we're probably not gonna be going for too much longer. We'll do some basic recon work, and before we sort of hit the sewers, we'll probably call it there. For the first show back for 2020. Back in 2020, man, it's gone so quickly. I mean, hell, we were talking about it the other day. I've lived through 4 freaking decades of history.
Yes, we
Crazy. Well, actually 5 decades technically. 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, now into 2020s. It's just nuts. Right, so is everybody back?
It is back.
I never left.
Yep.
No, Sadiq's sort of there. The others, yes, not. Maybe she was there, but then she's not.
I'm present.
Oh, there she is. Everyone's present. Yay. Roll call. So, you guys set out. Whereabouts you heading first? I mean, you've picked up any supplies you need.
To the guardhouse,
You're going to
I'd
head
say.
to the barracks?
Yeah.
Just to find out where they're investigating and where they think that you guys should go.
Yep.
Okay, so you head to the barracks, and you, when you get there, there's a number of guards just milling around. It's quite busy, and something you'd expect for something this important. There's guards shouting stuff. They're organising people. They're sending people to different parts of the city, and you got one sort of guy. I'd say you'd probably find he's probably now the acting sergeant, but you'd sort of recognise him as Paulie. He's probably been promoted to acting sergeant. He's a pretty cool dude, and he's there shouting orders and just letting everyone know where they need to go. So what do you
Well,
do?
seeing how Mars knows him, she can talk to him.
Hello. We're here to help with the finding of this man.
Wait, hello! Oh, Nemaris, good to see you. I haven't seen you for a long time. And Paulie's human. He's really stocky. He's quite short, real barrel chested dude. He's clean shaven. His armor's not as battle worn as some, so you get the impression he probably isn't one for running into combat. He's probably more of the one that sort of hangs in the middle towards the back, so he hasn't seen a lot of combat. But he seems capable enough. Longish, sort of not scruffy. It's well kept for a city's guardsman, but sort of greying hair, probably in his 40s. What can I do for you, Namaris? You were helping with the investigations.
I say, hi, Polly. How are you going? Yep, I've got myself and a few friends to come and give you guys. So where would you like us to go?
All right. Well, we've got a squad up by the Great Orb Village. We've got another one checking out the entrance to the sewers by Merchant's Farthing, and then I've just sent another one up to Queenswell Farthing. So I believe he was last seen heading towards the Dragon's Farthing entrance. So if you want to take your crew to the Dragon's Farthing and maybe start from that entrance, and the plan is to sort of move in from all sort of aspects of the city and sort of converge in the middle somewhere. Obviously, keep an eye out for the Black Fang.
Sounds good.
I mean, they they generally keep to themselves, as we know. I mean, they are the underbelly of the city, but they keep to themselves as long as they don't show their faces up here too often. We generally leave them alone. But you're moving into their territory, so definitely be aware that you may come across some scallywags in the sewers, of course.
Pretty sure we can handle ourselves.
Not a problem. Well, happy hunting, and we will might see you down there. And he carries on, starts shouting orders to other guys. You head over to the Raven's Thorn, and you lot over to the Dock Ward. And just carries on shouting orders. So, you guys have been given instructions to head towards the Dragon's Farthing. So, from the barracks, you need to head north, through Hart's Village, through the market, and then out to Dragon's Farthing. It'll take you about 45 minutes to an hour, sort of weaving through the city streets, before you find... I mean, Narash, you've got a rough idea where it is. I mean, you've been in the city your whole life, so you've got a fair idea where the sewer entrance is, and it's just a great big grate, tall enough for a person to walk through, and it's got a barred gate that you can walk through, like a doorway. So
a barred gate.
A barred.
Hey, look, it's a barred gate.
God, that was bad.
Funny you should mention that. Hit, before we get to the barred gate, Hit sort of rushes up to Namaris at the front, and as they're walking towards this barred gate, he says, Namaris, did I hear you say we're going to the sewer?
You did.
So I don't know about you, but I just got a nice new piece of armor. I've had it specially stitched up with that. I know we're going into the sewer. You see what I'm getting at here?
Oh, you're right. It's generally not too bad around this area. She
All your
smiles,
womanly bits and
gritting her
pieces
teeth.
get chucked down into the sewer, right? So
Make a deception check, Namaris.
Hang on. 17.
17. Yeah, but as far as you're aware, she sounds pretty honest. It's not too bad in this area, so you're pretty confident
I
that
feel
she's telling you the
sorry
truth.
for you. I do.
I just look
It's,
at her and I'm smiling and shaking my head.
Hit just nods. Well, I am wearing more than you, so you're getting it on your skin no matter what.
I know we're the
nonetheless.
best bathhouse ever, so you're all good.
So I know we're pursuing creatures in there, but I have heard rumors in the past about amphibious samurai warriors that live in the sewers.
Amphibious samurai warriors. I'm looking at him going, what are you talking?
And giant lizard people. Is this not true?
Oh, the giant lizard people, that's right. And they tend to eat the dragonborns, just letting you know.
Hit saying
Just
this
be
loud enough so
aware.
everyone else can hear. I was actually under the the idea that they actually ate humans or humankind or that type of humanoids, like everyone, like bipedals in general.
Oh, then we're all fucked.
So my point I'm trying to make is, if this person has gone into the sewer, likely enough we're going to find them dead.
I hope not, because we're trying to bring him back alive, but we definitely need those scrolls.
Doesn't have to be alive.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be alive, but that would be the preferable state. We could always.
And if
chop
they're
him from the
carrying special scrolls into the sewer, which, correct me if I'm wrong, everybody, a sewer is wet and pooey, and the scrolls are going to get damp.
We'll make sure you carry them, okay, Het?
Ellie's got the bag of holding.
Fiela is
Yeah.
tempted to wild shape into something I can piggyback on.
That's a good idea, Fiala. Can you get into what's good for a sewer? Maybe you turn into an alligator and we ride you into the sewer.
Miss
I just look around and I'm like, guys, are you serious? We're feeling worse than this.
I don't know about you,
I
but
don't have
This
to
is
think
sewer.
worse than this. I mean, and
You-
as you guys are discussing this, you get closer to the gate and you open the gate, and the smell is pretty rank. I mean, it's
See what I'm saying? Those aren't king apples that are floating.
Oh, they might be apples. They just might be recycled.
Look, you take a bite and you tell me.
No, thank you.
so as your parent
apples.
gets the
After
humanity
you,
going
sir.
deep into deep shite. Exactly, magic. So
Deep in dirt.
So, hit you sort of as you're doing this, you're sort of peering in the door, and yeah, you can see like it's almost like I'm trying to remember the sewer from Ghostbusters. You got the little footpaths from either side, and you've got the little channel of crap. I mean, it's just it's dirty water. Actually, no,
Yeah.
more like it. Remember the sewer scene from
Yep.
it as they're walking in, and they got the little footpaths on either side, and you've got
Yeah.
that dirty water in the middle, and it's probably. You'd estimate it's probably waist deep. I mean, it's not shallow water. It's
Does not go
it's
into
storm
last.
water. It's stormwater. It's sewage. It's everything. It takes everything away.
I look at Hit and I'm like, what do you think will happen if I throw in a toy?
Yeah, sewage from Elder Scrolls 4. There you go. From Oblivion.
So just so you know, fire is probably not the best in a contained environment where the sewer excrement gives off a gas. I would recommend no torches.
Actually, roll an intelligence check to see if you'd actually know that. About. Sadiq would probably know about noxious gases a little bit, but I don't know if you would hit.
Hit is wildly stabbing in the dark with his 8.
So, team, yes, you are faced with a not so sanitary sewer entrance. It's tall enough to stand. It's probably about 15 20 feet tall. It's in an arch. It's your typical sort of sewer stormwater. It's designed to take heavy downpours and things like that. It's wet. It's damp. It's drippy. You have all sorts of goop in there. I mean, it's not pleasant, but it's not terrible either.
Hey, Ellie, turn into a giant sewer rat and jump on in there.
No, I can't take that from. Sorry.
Oh, well.
That
It
would
was
be
worth
the
a
Ayla
try.
thing, I think.
Don't lose your balance, guys.
Hit stays at the back and wants to see someone else make a mistake, so he doesn't.
Right. So give me a marching order. Who's going in first?
Hit is last.
I don't mind going in first. If nobody else wants to go first,
Who has dark vision?
Yes. Who has dark
Hit
vision?
does not.
Oh, shit.
I do. I'll go first.
So Sadiq.
I don't have that.
Begrudgingly,
You can go.
Sadiq steps forward and like you don't step into the muck. You step up to the side. So you've got like 5 foot wide paths on either side of the sewer, so you can easily get half the group either side of the sewer tunnel.
As Sadiq walks past, Hit puts his hand on his shoulder and plucks his loot and says, 1,000 points of light, and casts light on Sadiq.
On Sadiq even, nice. So Sadiq, you are now emanating a 20-foot radius of bright light and then another 20 foot of dim light.
He can make a dick save if he doesn't want it.
You accept,
I don't
you
mind.
accept the light.
Just wait a minute. I got to go settle down my dog and bird.
No
so I'll
worries,
be right
mate.
back.
So yeah, Sadiq takes the lead, lit up like a Christmas tree. And who's second?
I'll go behind him.
So Namaris files in after Sadiq. Hit, you said you're going last.
I'll go
Definitely.
last. I'll go last.
Well, you have to fight it out with Hit.
I'll grab Hit's hand and pull him in with me. So he'll be next to
So Fiala, Hit, and then Ellie following up.
First a halfling pulls Hit, now a half-elf pulls Hit.
Crack up. So you all enter into the sewer system. With the light emanating from Sadiq, it's not dark. Like you got a good light and a good dim light out to about 40 feet, so you can see pretty well. And what you find is it's a typical underground or undercity sort of entrance into the sewer stormwater system. So it's like I said, it's 15 to 20 feet high. It's about 15, 20 feet wide with 5-foot paths on either side. You've got your big trench of crappy water in the middle. And as you're sort of looking in past, there's things in there. There's dead rats. There's floating bits and pieces. And the smell for you especially, is getting pretty bad. Most other people, because your sense of smell is probably heightened above everyone else. That's probably why it's so bad for you. But everyone else is not too bad. It stinks, but it's not terrible.
Hit Ice Spear and just fires one straight into the water.
Oh shit! Roll damage. You don't need to roll to hit because it's going to hit. Just roll random damage for me.
Oh damn it! Where's the tier? It is 9 damage.
9 damage. So because you're towards the back, do you fire it like in front of you, like towards the front or towards the back?
Towards the furthest point where I can see movement. I just slam a ice spear in there.
The ice spear just fires and it hits the water and it sprays dirty water everywhere. Anyone that's sort of near the point of impact gets covered in crap. And it stirs up the smell too because you've disturbed the water and the smell just intensifies. Hit roll a Constitution save for me.
The spell will also gloss over any shards like that with ice.
Yeah. So the point of impact, like all that stuff, even the point of impact, the water has iced over it, has formed a sheet of ice across the top, and you got ice
just
shards
lightly.
Ice shards of crap all off the wall.
That's 11 for my save.
11. Yeah, you sort of, you know how you sort of vomit into your mouth a little bit. Like you don't fully projectile vomit, but you just get that little bit in the back of your throat that burns a little bit.
That tastes yucky.
You fail, mate.
But why?
Head
But
likes
why?
to be Head likes to be dirty in his own time, not dirty in someone else's dirt.
So as you guys noisily make your way down the sewer tunnel,
Don't fire into that. It's yucky.
You follow the tunnel for probably about 15 or 20 minutes, and you come to your first junction. You got a fork off to your right, which sort of bends around, a fork off. There's a fork off to the right and a fork off to the left, so you can fork off both ways if you like. Worst icy pole ever. Oh my god. So you have a left and a right passage that you can take.
We can fork off to the right.
Or you can fork off to the left.
Or we can go up the back passage the way we came. I think most of us came out of the back passage.
Actually, no. We'll go right.
You go right. Everyone agreed to go follow Sadiq. Sadiq's going to carry on around to the right.
Hold on, Sadiq. Hold on a second.
Duck.
As brave as you are, I feel like if we're following someone under here, if it was me and I was escaping people, I would want to set traps. We should put our trap searcher first, because otherwise you will get killed and end up in the poo.
Alright, Alan, you're up front.
So, Alan, yeah.
Awesome. Check the traps.
You got your goggles on, Alan?
I
We
do.
So, check for traps.
Head grins.
Roll your D20 plus your dex. And your
It's a
proficiency.
shit job, but someone's got to do it.
He's got to search through the shit to get to the good stuff.
Perfect.
Beast Oracle with a sub. Thank you very much. I don't know why the alert's still sounding. It shouldn't.
20.
But thank you. 20. You search the passage. Do you jump across and search both sides of the passage?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you should be able to. You're pretty dexterous. I won't make you roll for it. Oh, Beast Oracle. Cheers, buddy. Thank you for that sub, mate. Yeah, so you search around for a bit, and yeah, it's a sewer. There's no traps. You do, with that roll, you do find down that right fork, there is some muddy footprints though. So there's definitely, someone's definitely come this way recently. You can't tell sort of who they might be, but it's a pretty clear set of footprints.
Cool, let them know about money.
It's good to see your voice is still the same.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, guys, just briefly before we carry on, everybody say g'day to Beast Oracle or SPC or Savage Beast Co. Our former player,
Hello.
who unfortunately was involved in a pretty nasty crash, still recovering, and recovering well from what I understand. So, welcome, Savage. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Yeah, so we're probably not going to carry on for much longer anyway, guys. I haven't done any encounters or anything up for tonight. We're just to get through this sort of stuff. But we'll travel a bit more in the sewer because it's funny.
Now leave us in the shit.
Gonna leave you in the shit. No, so you take that right passage, and you
It's a good chance to talk.
you then, as you're following that passage, it leads back, straightens up again, and you're going to be walking probably another 10 or 15, 20 minutes. You follow these footprints. They seem, because it's pretty wet, damp, and muddy, and messy, and the footprints are pretty easy to follow. Every now and again, you do, Alessandros, you notice it. No one else will. You notice markings on the wall. Markings that you know reasonably well. Giving directions of sorts, and sort of pointing in the way that you're traveling.
I take it those muddy footprints that I found earlier still doing the same.
Yep, they lead in the same direction as the markings on the wall.
Alright. No, I'm not telling them.
You're not going to tell them about the markings?
Not yet.
Okay. So you continue to follow the hallway, and do you continue looking for those markings in your travels?
I do.
So you continue. You all continue. Does anyone want to say or do anything while you're traveling? You're probably going to walk for another 20 minutes or so before your next junction.
I'm just gonna whistle, just because we're so bloody quiet and stealthy in here.
That's the thing. Are you stealthing or are you just walking?
Walking.
You're just walking.
Just walking.
Namara starts whistling, which echoes through the sewer system. It sounds kind of interesting. Like she whistles, and then a second or so later you hear that it's not like a real hard echo. It's just a real soft sort of reverby type echo.
So, in saying that, I'm going to use my mage hand and go plonk on the back of Namara.
So you're gonna cast your mage. You're gonna push her or just tap her on the back?
Just tap her on the back.
Roll to hit, actually. See if you actually can hit it.
No, I'm not going to hit.
What did you roll?
So
you generally roll the same as what you would normally roll with your modifier as well. I think for you it's like +7.
Yeah, I got 13.
You missed.
So yeah, it's the first time you're using this new spell and you're not 100% sure how it works, and you sort of cast it and you go to touch her and you just can't quite figure it out. So you're going to have to practice a little bit on that one.
Well, on that, in that case, because I've cast it, it's still there.
It's still there, yeah.
I'm going to place the hand on Maris's.
You're going to place it where on her?
On her shoulder.
On her shoulder? No, Maris, you feel this hand. It's quite large. Just touch your left shoulder.
I just look at my left shoulder and I'm like, what is that?
You don't
And
see
make it disappear.
anything. But was it visible or invisible?
Invisible.
Oh yeah, you don't see anything. You just feel this pressure on your left shoulder.
Right, and I'm like, okay, and I turn around and I'm just looking at whoever's behind me. Is it hit or is it?
You were second in, so Fiala will be behind you.
I look at Fiela and say, "Did you just tap me on the shoulder?"
No.
I feel like I've got a hand there. It's weird.
Okay, I've made the hand disappear. Namaras, you going to keep whistling?
Yeah.
You don't sound convinced.
Tell him what that feeling will do next time.
I look at Ali and I'm like, "Did you just do something?"
No, not at all.
Do I believe her? Him?
Make an insight check. And make
I
a
believe him.
deception roll as well. Okay. What was your roll, Namara?
Net 20.
A 7.
Yeah. You totally believe him.
Yeah.
And
Alright.
and it's and just for point of reference here too, guys, all of you are still, every time you look at Ellie, you're weirded out by the fact that she's now a dude instead of a girl. It's as much as you guys know about it, it's still fucking weird. She doesn't sound anything like, she sounds nothing like she did before. She doesn't look like she did. She literally sounds like a dude. And I mean, not a real deep voice. I mean, half elves probably don't have a real deep voice, but sounds nothing like Alessandra's previously did, and looks nothing like it. It's just a weird thing to be talking to a person you know who it is, but they just don't look like the person that you've been travelling with for near on 6 months.
I'm just going to go, "Hey, Ali, come here a second."
No, I'll be right. I'm just looking for traps and stuff.
Make another investigation check for me with your proficiency modifier.
$18.
18. Yeah, still no traps. You're still finding those markings on the wall very discreetly, and they still seem to be pointing in the direction that you're going. You walk another 15-20 minutes, and then you come to a larger sort of room. Not really a room as such, but the opening sort of opens out, and walking in again, referencing the It people. The first big room that they walk into when they first encounter the Pennywise in the original film. It's like a big open area. It leads up. If you look up, you can see a grate above you, which the sun is still streaming through. So you got a bit of that ambient light and the dust and stuff that sort of gives you the light shards coming into the room. And again, it's sort of where 4 or 5 different sewer sort of inlets, outlets merge in this one room, and it's like, so you've got probably 6 or different choices from this particular space you're now standing in. You've got 6 passages which you can take. You can either roll a d6 to choose a passage, or just choose one at random.
Because I've been tracking those symbols.
Do you want to have a look around for more of those?
Yeah.
Okay, investigation check, please. Welcome, Seven.
It also drops light.
And you drop light? Oh, yeah, so there'll be enough light in here for everyone to see with the sun coming through. Great. So 15. It takes you a little bit, but you do manage to, from the passage you just walked in, 2 passages to your right, you do notice, again, a similar marking, which pretty much tells you that that's probably the passage that you're best to take. Well, that's leading in that particular direction. You can't see the footprints anymore; they seem to have gone, but the mark is pointing down that particular corridor.
I shall let the rest of the group know what I've been doing.
We'll let them know.
Yeah, guys, just to let you know, I've been tracking the footprints, but I've also been watching for symbols on the sewer walls.
What kind of symbol?
They are the markings used by thieves, which
that.
it is called Thieves Can't. Only rogues are able to
Might
read
be
it.
able to.
So yeah, Alessandra obviously informs you guys that this particular language is specific to thieves, and the footprints were initially leading to this particular passage. You can no longer see those footprints, but the footprints were following the markings that you've been seeing, and this passage has that same marking on it.
Any idea where they lead in here?
Over that way.
Any idea what the markings say, or are they just pointing you in a direction?
Just pointing me in a direction.
How do we know it's not leading us to certain death?
You have no clue.
No clue. So Namaris, no whistling.
Well, you could have just said that to me before, and I got him to poke him in the face, just like, that's a weird look.
Should we be... maybe we should... Well, I don't know. Should we be stealthing from here then, instead of being ambly like we are?
Everyone roll a perception check for me, just quickly.
Neymar sees jack shit with a natural 1.
Natural 1. This will be a group roll, so it'll be an average.
15 for hit.
17.
15, 17.
Whatever 19 plus 6 is.
25. That's a good roll.
What am I checking it with?
Just a perception.
So, yeah, no, it is a natural 1.
So, I mean, most of you...
I got 20-something.
20-something? Okay, yeah. So, average is pretty good. Even with a nat 1 in there, it's still pretty up there. So, you guys do hear... Like, you can hear the city street above. It's a pretty busy day. So, you've got ambient noise from the street above. And, Alessandra, as you've been closer to this particular tunnel, you're all sort of milling around, sort of listening and talking, and you hear murmuring down that tunnel, like voices, distant voices. You can't make out what they're saying. It's very muffled, but you do hear sounds like possibly 2 or 3 voices. You really can't tell, but there's definitely someone down this particular passage.
How's the light in the sewers?
In this particular part, it's reasonably bright with the sewer grate. Leading down that tunnel, you're heading back into darkness again.
I'm going to let the others know that I'm hearing voices down that way. I'm going to stealth it down and check it out.
So you're going to go down by yourself and just do a bit of an
Sticky
investigation?
beak, yes. Sticky beak.
Roll a stealth check for me.
27.
27. Well done. So you move your way down that particular passage very quietly and very stealthily. You move along the passage. You find another symbol about 30 feet in. The voices you heard before, you don't really hear them anymore, but you are certain that you heard something. You do hear rats occasionally. You hear the occasion sort of that real skittery sort of sound. My sound went AFK. I wonder why I wasn't hearing anything. But yeah, you do hear occasionally like the skittering of spiders and things like that. And pistol time, whatever. You then, on occasion, you see movement in the water to the left of you. Just a few bubbles here and there, and then you swear you see something sort of break the surface and disappear, and it kind of freaks you out momentarily. And then you stop for a second. You are pretty well stealth, so that whatever it was, you don't think it saw you, but there's something alive in the water. You're 100% sure there's something there. You go another 30 or so feet and you stop and listen. Can you make another perception roll for me, please?
I hear nothing.
What's the roll, dude?
I'll use the passive. Go 14.
14. Yeah. You hear that that whatever that was, it broke the surface of the water and then disappeared under the water again. You see bubbles about 10 feet in front of you, and then nothing for a bit. You don't hear the voices anymore. And you sort of, from what you can see where you are with your goggles on, there's not a lot of light in here, so it's very, very hard to make out. But it looks like there's another. It looks like the passage opens up into another similar room to what you guys have. The rest of the group's currently standing in. Do you carry forth, or do you go back?
Go back. Let the people know.
So you go back and inform them of what you heard and thought you saw?
Yes.
During that time, while he was walking down the corridor, Hit makes 3 small illusory balloons in his hand, red ones, and he blows them up towards the grate above.
And does he utter the words, "We all float down here"?
No, he says nothing. He just blows these small balloons up. They're only little too. They're only the size of his.
Oh, crack up. Yes, so Alessandra returns. He informs you that there's possibly something in the water down that particular passage. He's not 100% sure. He thought he saw something move. Could have been a rat, but it was something pretty big. Can't hear the voices anymore, but there's another opening similar to this one, about 100 feet down this passage.
Can the rest of the party actually see the markings on the wall that these can't?
You see the markings, but you're not sure what they are. Yeah, you're not 100% sure what it is. You're looking at it and you go, "Ooh, that's kind of weird," but yeah, you're not. Yeah, you're just not sure what it is.
He takes out his notebook and rips out a page and does one of those little, with his pencil across the wall, makes like an impression of it.
Okay, yep. And when you do that, it just looks like squiggly lines and some weird-looking rune that just makes no sense to you whatsoever.
Absolutely fine.
So, team, we are about 9:30. I don't really want to push you guys too much further because I've got some ideas in mind.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
So
Smiles, we're all in trouble.
So we will probably call it there, team, and chat for the first live stream for 2020. So that will be the end of the D&D for this evening. I will be back on Tuesday with some gaming. We've got a new schedule up. Tuesday to Friday, I will be running 7:30 p.m. New Zealand Standard Time. Thursday and Friday, I'll be doing an 11 a.m. stream as well. So for those of you in the US who do want to maybe come and join us playing either Scum or Call of Duty, come and hang out with us on, which will be Wednesday, Thursday nights for you guys, but it'll be Thursday, Friday morning for me. And like I said earlier, D&D is now every Sunday night until further notice. So if you're into D&D and you want to hang out with us some more, come back again next Sunday, same time, 7:30 p.m. New Zealand Standard Time, and we will carry on this adventure into the crappy sewers. and poor Hit's nose is being insulted right now. But yeah, so thank you so much for hanging out with us for the first show back officially for 2020. Appreciate the subs we got tonight. Thank you so much, guys. Beast Oracle, Thoughtless Doom, Soul Crusher there with the host. So we finished a little early tonight, Soul, but thank you so much. Appreciate it. And we will see you guys on Tuesday. Savage, get well soon, man. Hope your recovery is speedy and quick. But just overall thinking of you, dude. And like I said, when you're feeling up to it and getting better, I want to catch up with you, and I want to bring your character back in for a special guest appearance. So hopefully catch up at some stage, man. We'll definitely get you involved. And on that note, fare thee well, and we'll see you Tuesday for gaming and next week for more D&D.
Night, everybody.